Predator, Badlands was a good movie. I was expecting one thing, I got something else, but what I got was good. This movie was essentially, well, it started out as one of those one against all movies, like Sylvester Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, when he's just one guy fighting a bunch of people. That's what it was. The main protagonist is a young Yaocha. They said it on screen, so I guess instead of saying Yaocha, I'm used to saying Yaocha. I guess everybody says Yaocha. They call it a Yaocha. The young protagonist is, I'm still going to say Yaocha. The young protagonist is making up for something he did wrong. It starts off pretty much with him in a trial, or a trial with his brother, an older, bigger, stronger Yaocha. And he's trying to prove himself that he has, he's got what it takes. And he loses to his brother. But his brother doesn't give him the finger across the throat treatment, which apparently his father was expecting him to do. So the brother tries to petition for Deke, the younger brother, and says, "Hey man, he's okay, man. Just give him some time." And father is basically, he's small, he's a runt, he's too little. We should have unalived him at birth, and we didn't. So I want you to do it now. So it happens pretty much the way you would figure. The father throws the device down that locks Deke in position so he can't move. The older brother takes out his sword and is going to give him, the whack. But just like you would figure, he frees him instead. And he's like, "Yo, run! I'll hold Dad off," basically. So Deke does not want to run, but the brother hits a device that's got like a tethering device, and it hooks onto a spaceship and drags Deke away. The father has a cloaking device. From what they're saying, the cloaking device is an earned device. Some of the weapons are earned, some of the weapons are given, but the cloaking device, you have to earn it. So, and that takes me back to the Predator 1 and the other Predators. I would have thought at first that those Predators were quote unquote unblooded. They hadn't done their big, deadly, dastardly deeds, so they were out there trying to prove themselves. But they all had cloaking devices. So I'm wondering, did they have to fight their fathers in order to get those cloaking devices? Or is that something that they're going to retcon later? Or what? Because nobody else had a cloaking device except for the leader of their tribe. And he was telling them, you want the cloak? You want that cloak? You want this cloak? You got to earn it. And I'm thinking, is it because, maybe it's because he was little. They didn't really explain that. He had to earn the cloak and really earn his life because Pops wanted him, done. So brother fights the father. And of course, the father is even bigger still than the older brother. So it doesn't work out well for him. And the father doesn't have any problem with giving anyone the whack, including his children. So Deke gets pulled away. Something that happens. At first, before Deke is sent away, his brothers tell him, "You need to go out there, earn Dad's respect, pick a planet, and bring back a great trophy." So they're flipping through planets, and they're like Klingon, Vulcan, Creed. They're just going through all of these things, And when they hit a planet that I have to assume is Earth, they showed a very familiar character. They show what appeared to be Amber Midthunder's character, Naru. It's what appeared to be a woman, because they're like digital outlines. When they're flipping through, digital outline of like a T-Rex, whoosh, digital outline of Frankenstein. There's just different things that are considered, I guess, the apex or the top predator for this planet. And they flip through, and they show what appeared to be a woman with long hair holding a bow. So I'm like, okay, well, callback. That's got to be Naru, right? Amber Midthunder, man. So that was kind of cool that they did that. They're tying some of the worlds together. They also are tying the Predator Alien worlds together. Disney owns both. They also own Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel. So there could be some great big hodgepodge of all of these things. But right now, Predator and Alien movies are slowly starting to be interwoven. Now, on the Alien Earth TV show, they get into detail about entities called Siths, which are synthetic humans. Actually, in Marvel comic books, the Vision is a synthezoid, essentially a robotic entity that either can confuse people to believe that they're humans, or they themselves are confused that they're human. They have a lot of humanity woven into their making. They're allowed to have emotion, or at least the semblance of emotion and independent thought. So once they're created and they come off the assembly line, they're essentially a thinking, feeling robot. And of course, we saw that in Alien Earth, Wendy was a synth with sensitivity. So she could feel the emotions and the feelings and even dissect the language of other aliens. They mention that in this movie because the main Sith, Thea, she says that she's sensitive. She was made to be sensitive. She and her twin are sensitive Siths, meaning that they can feel and potentially communicate with the other aliens. She could definitely communicate with Dex. And she tells him she had done in-depth research on the Yautja. So at this point, Weyland Yutani has not only met and is aware of the Yautja, but they've been researching them. They've been studying them. Kind of cool. At the end of one of the Predator versus Alien movies, I forget which one, they have the shoulder cannon and they give it to who I assume is Yutani. A woman takes it and they're like, we've got it. And they give it to her. They open the box. It's the weapon. And and another one of the movies, they show that they've captured a lot of the weapons. It's a Predator movie, though. They captured a lot of the weapons. So Earth has been studying them for a while. Probably not as long as they've been visiting, but, they're slow, but they're catching on. So at this point, which is in our future, because they're exploring space, they've got colonies and other planets and stuff. In our future, they're aware of the Yautja, and the Yautja are aware of the humans, because when Dex is going through the planets, he's like spinning through the different planets, this one, that one, this one, like a Rolodex. When he comes upon what has to be Earth, I'm fairly certain it's Nauru. So they know about Nauru, they know about Earth. They consider them a viable place to go to get a proper trophy. And he skips it, he goes past it, goes to another one, and it's like, I'm going to that one, man. And his brother's like, no, that's the most dangerous planet. Well, of course, it's, it's got to be the most dangerous. Oh, no, that's the most dangerous planet with the most unkillable thing. So when I saw the trailers, I was thinking, why is it unkillable? I mean, because they showed him slide up under it and cut its belly open. So what happens after that? That seems pretty killed. Spoiler about the creature. Give me 10 seconds. Spoiler about the creature. Ready? And start. The creature has a regenerative ability that is probably as good as Deadpool. You cut its head off, another head comes back. That's the end of the spoiler. Okay, so he is hunting a creature, like they said in Prey, hunting a creature that can hunt you. And it is essentially unkillable. So he goes to that planet, and of course, he's got troubles from the very beginning. There's a meteor shower that he flies through, wrecks his ship, he crash lands, takes out all of his stuff. He's like, all right, okay, I'm ready. He's taking all of his stuff out, and he's inventorying his weapons, and something steals his weapons. Man. And he has to fight the thing. All he's got is his bow and his sword. He has to fight the thing. But the people who are playing the Dex, the main protagonist, and the guy that's playing his older brother are, I want to say they're Maori. Actually, I think he's from New Zealand. So he's probably Maori. And so is the father, I believe, and the brother. So just like with Star Trek, how all the Klingons have suddenly become the brothers, I think the Maori are going to, or maybe, New Zealanders, or maybe just Islanders altogether are going to be the Predators, the new Predators, because they are here. The father, side note, is a professional wrestler, and he is 6'10" in real life. So the best way to escape that dude is to run into a house, because he's going to bust his head trying to get inside that door. He is too big. But so he goes to the planet, and he's got to learn the terrain, and everything here is trying to kill him. The vegetation is trying to kill him. All of the animal life seems to be trying to kill him. And on top of that, Weyland-Yutani is there, man. Something cool that they did with the Weyland-Yutani synths. They've got two of them that are sensitive, and they're in charge of the mission. They can coordinate the mission because they've got a feeling about how all of the animals on this planet act. They can suss that out. The rest of them are being played by one dude, and that one dude is playing an army of synthetic soldiers. So it's not, one dude being duplicated, one actor. They're using his face for all of them because it's one model of synthetic soldier, which was kind of cool because it makes sense. You make a soda, a popular soda, you put it in a can, all of those cans need to look alike so that, you know what it is, what's inside the can. The ones that are sensitive, they both look alike. Eventually call themselves sisters or twins. The soldiers, they all look alike because they're the same thing, which was kind of cool. This movie was rated PG, and you would think a Disney-rated PG movie, not much blood, not much gore, how good can it be for a Predator movie? But since almost everything on here was alien or synthetic, they could go hog wild, man. There was no blood in this, really, because there were no humans. There wasn't a single human in the entire movie. So if the alien got cut, the predator, it didn't matter because that's not real blood. That's green goo. If Thea got hurt, she's dripping, yellow, pinkish, whitish motor oil or whatever that crap is that drips out of them. If the other synths got torn apart, splashes of yellow and black goo and everything. And that's that. That was kind of cool. They had some really good fight scenes in here. They wrote it in a way that you feel sympathetic for what is normally considered the bad guy. Usually, if you got a movie and a predator's in it, he is trying to kill humans. But in this one, almost everything is trying to kill him. So it turns out different, and you sympathize for him. You end up cheering for who is traditionally the bad guy. And they put him in a position where you feel sympathy for him. And then they put him in another position where he's outnumbered, outclassed, but not outwitted because he uses the terrain. Like what you would assume, like in the old Wild West movies, you have someone who is indigenous, Native American, and they're using this and that and this and this and that, and they're putting things together, and they take a rock and they break the rock and they make a spear, and then they go to a certain tree and they take branches and they make a bow. Not that tree, gotta be that tree. Over here, no, don't fish there. There's an alligator in that water, but come over here, there's fish. Oh, don't go too far over there. There's a bear cave. They just know about the area. They've lived there, they learn, they know, they adapt. Dex does that very quickly. He's really smart. He's little, but he's really smart. He learns this and that, what'll happen. He learns about things that are dangerous, and you can see it in his eyes because he's like, oh, okay, all right. If somebody stepped over there, they're in trouble. It kind of put me in mind of a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he's in the bayou and people are chasing him, and he catches a rattlesnake and he bites the rattle off and he hangs it in a tree or something like that, and it falls and you don't hear it because there's no rattle, and the snake bites a dude in the face. Man, he set that up because he lives in the bayou and he knows bayou stuff. You live in a big city, you're not going to learn bayou stuff. Just the same thing with Dex. Dex lives, he travels to the forest planets, desert planets. He lives on a weird Yautja Prime planet. He learns stuff, man. And I think they're trying to make them, with that being said, I think they're trying to make them more of like space Native Americans. That was the feeling I got. He did have a sword, but he had a bow also. He lost his weapons and he learned how to use the area around him. Something that was interesting. He and Thea talk, and Thea tells him on my planet, Earth, because he's telling her how his father wanted to unalive him. And she's like, that's not the leader of a pack. The most popular leaders of packs on my world are wolves, and they're dangerous. So he's like, oh, okay, well, when I'm done here, I'm gonna go to Earth and hunt a wolf. And she's like, that's not the point, homie. I'm trying to tell you something. The leader of the pack is called the Alpha. And he's like, because it's the strongest? And she's like, no. He's the Alpha because he's the protector. He protects the rest of the den, the pack. And he's like, oh, the protector, he protects them. Yeah, keeps them strong. So he considers himself the leader of their new pack. And he calls himself Wolf. And she says it once also. So I wonder if that was a play back to way back, because this would have been way back in time when Wolf was part of the team that had to go get that predator on Earth that time. He was one of the predators, one of the three. So I wonder, is this just a callback to that name? Or was that Deck and he earned the name Wolf, or he gave himself the name Wolf, and we just know him as Wolf now, even though it was in the past. Like if your name was Freddie, and then you join a cult and they name you Boobale, and then somebody who knows you now looks at a picture of you as a kid, they're gonna say, "Oh, that's Boobale." They're not gonna say that's Freddie because they know you now with that name. Even an old picture, they would look at it and say, "Oh, that's Boobale," because that's how they know you. So with Dex, Wolf, in the future, if they're calling him Wolf, looking back at the past, looking at some of his deeds, they would have been like, "Oh yeah, that was Wolf, baby, that was Wolf." I wonder if it's something like that, and he is Wolf because he's a bad dude. He's not as big and as strong, but he's cunning. He's smart. He knows stuff, ancient, secret, alien stuff, and he's good. I didn't talk much about Thea. I liked the character, but Dex was clearly more interesting. There's other characters that show up as well. The main creature he's trying to hunt is only in like 3 scenes. It's more about his journey and maybe an origin story if he is in fact Wolf. But it was good. Overall, it was good. I didn't want to give too much away. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't want to give too much away. The movie just came out. This is the opening weekend. But I would give Predator Badlands, because it was good, 8 bags of popcorn. 8 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. But more importantly, what do you think about that? Now that you had a chance to look at the video, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.